Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast. Thanks for tuning in again. Today we have one hot topic where we explore one fake case, one real courtroom, and a mistake that could have cost a legal career. Today, let's dive into the $25 million ghost, also known as Park versus Kim case. So let's jump right in and start with a mental image of where this began. We are set in the United States at the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. Here is not for any small cases. This is one step below their Supreme Court, and cases and careers are made or break here. The star of our show today is attorney J. Lee. He is representing a client in a very high-stake situation, that being medical malpractice, with a wage dispute. So already, tensions are high, pressures are high, everything is high. To add some context, she was trying to make a strong argument on minimum wage, specifically the minimum wage law. And suddenly she hits a wall, you could say. But she decides to check all the usual places, that being Westlaw, LexisNexis, etc. And she ultimately decides to check ChatGPT. Could go wrong, right? Everybody using AI. I'd assume she wasn't familiar with the previous misconduct and malpractice with AI. And suddenly, she finds the perfect case. What to be expected? Since AI makes everything look so curated and so perfectly put together, anybody could be fooled. And what was the name of that case? The name of that case being Matter of Bergenon versus Coordinated Behavioral Health Services Incorporated. And that sounds legit, right? Hence, can't even pronounce the word properly. Of course, you would think it's legit. And it had fit her argument perfectly. So that just convinced her even more. But there was one one major issue that would have seemed so well hidden away if you hadn't done prior research. The case never existed, hence the reason for it being the $25 million ghost. Let's dive into how this could have happened and how it could happen to you. Most people think of Google and AI as a search engine where you can type in a prompt and immediately you would get factual results. But it is not so. To give a description of AI from what I would think it is, it's like a search engine on steroids or on crack. It just throws out information to you. It doesn't matter where it comes from, if it's credible, it just throws out all the info it could at you and convinces you in a sense. It is what some experts may call a stochastic parrot. Basically, it predicts what should come next based on the patterns from previous prompts. And from my experience using AI, I can really see that I would use it to help study, and I would see they bringing things back from before all the way to my new prompts. So if I say, tell me about this, they saying, well, since you had previously mentioned this before, and I would be a whole different chat from a while back, they would bring that up and say, since you studied this before, since you are doing such degree, this would relate. I'll be like, oh, you know my business. So that is what happened when attorney J. Lee asked AI to help with a legal precedent. It did not go digging through no databases or anything. Instead, it proceeded to generate something that looked like a real legal case. Though it looked convincing, here's where things kind of went sideways. So instead of treating it as a rough draft or a starting point, she proceeded to copy it straight into her federal court brief with no double checking, no verifications, nothing. Now let us step into the judge's shoes. They read this case, they say, interesting, let me research this, let me pull this up to find more info on it. They do so, and they find nothing. They do a second search, and still nothing. So they then turn to her and ask her if she can provide the case for them to refer to. And she says she can't, because she had never checked if it was real in the first place. Honestly, I think the easiest way to understand this is through comparison. So let's compare to a doctor, for example. He uses an online symptom tracker, which is probably highly unreliable, because how? And they don't double check with the anatomy of the person, and they go straight into surgery, they go straight into the medical practice. Yeah, that's problems. To compare to law now, in law, your anatomy would be precedent. And if that's fake, everything collapses. So not only was this embarrassing, but it was very serious. So let's dive right into why this is so serious. Looking at Rule 11. Rule 11 states, basically, when a lawyer signs and submits a document to the court, they are giving their word, like a professional oath, that everything in it is accurate. When Lee submitted a fake document, a fake case, she was not only making a mistake, she was misrepresenting a law to the court. Then there's Rule 11, which is duty of competence. This used to mean know your law, know your procedures. But now, with the addition of technology, there is new technological competence. Basically, it means if you are using AI, you need to know how it works and how it fails you at times. And one of the biggest ways it can fail you is that it lies to you, and it lies confidently. Now, here's where things get a little more intense. In previous cases, lawyers were fined, they were embarrassed, but not in this case. The Second Circuit Court proceeded to take it a step further, and they requested Attorney Jay Lee to go to grievance panel. So that was not just a slap on the wrist or a little you did wrong. That was her her lawyer license being questioned, being sent for review. And it was not just a oops mistake, it was oops, you could lose your job and your career might be on the line. To the big question, do we ban AI? Technically, no. I don't think banning AI would help. AI is an assistance tool. It can be used to help you. It can make tasks easier. It can help organize drafts, organize emails. It can do so much to help an individual when used correctly. But we are dealing with a case of efficiency versus accuracy. And an emerging idea being the hallucination management, and that is a skill that needs to be developed. It means understanding that AI can ultimately provide fake information and how to navigate your way around that. So this brings you to having a human in the loop, where AI can generate your drafts, AI can help you, can assist you, but you need a human, you need a person to double check, to fact check, especially in law cases. Every case, every citation, every source must be checked in order to proceed. And it must be manually checked against a real database, especially in law cases. Because if you don't, you are risking something more than just being wrong. You are risking being placed in the liar's dividend. Also, if fake cases start showing up in courtrooms, what can judges really trust? Judges would start to trust nothing, and that would be more problems, because when the real innocent people be misjudged. And also that causes the problem of the entire legal system being slowed down due to everything having to be double checked, everything having to be fact checked. So one fake case does not affect only the lawyer, it reflects also everyone. So a final takeaway from this would be the Park versus Kim and other cases similar to this are more or less like a warning to us. Think of it as like a honeymoon phase in the AI world, AI legal world. Yeah, it's over now because it would cause a lot of problems if continued. And hopefully lawyers are understanding this to not put us back with modern advanced technologies. Courts are no longer accepting the fact that I did not know that AI could lie. They are not accepting those statements anymore because this has happened more than once. And a simple Google search would show you that AI is not reliable at times. Even the AI search engine say information can be wrong. So how you would just trust it wholeheartedly, especially for something so serious? So at the end of the day, the responsibility still falls on the human, still falls on the lawyer, still falls on the person who did the search, who trusted AI. And since your reputation is everything in a courtroom, your trust, your credibility, all that could be torn down with one single hallucination and one wrongfully misguided trust. Thank you for tuning in today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the story of Park versus Kim. See you again soon. Bye.